Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the July meeting of the Oak Hills Park Authority. We will begin the meeting, and I would like to call the meeting to order. And I would like to go around and see who's in attendance at this, commissioners, authority members. We'll, as I mention your name, if you could just say yes, you are here. So Denise Brown.
Here.
Gary Leeds.
Here.
And we have a newer member, Mary Verrill, who has joined us, and I will talk about her with my remarks. But Mary Verrill.
Here.
Nice to see you, Mary.
Thank you.
Richard Dellinger.
Here.
Robert Stowers.
I'm here. Alan, I won't be staying the whole meeting though, but
that's okay. We appreciate you being.
Yeah.
So we have a quorum. So we will now. We also have staff members. We have obviously we have Mark Gartner. We have Paul Alexander. We have Jim Shell, and of course our general manager James Holliday. Also, we are joined, I believe, by John Lloyd, Audrey Kazarin, and Jerry Crowley. So we have a good group today. So we will now move to item 2 on the agenda, which is acceptance of the minutes. I would like to, would someone move that we accept the minutes, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
I have we have one correction, so you want to do that?
So could I just get a second, do you think, please, guys?
Take a second.
Okay, fine. And now corrections and changes to the minutes.
One that I just saw is on page 4 under the attendance report that Denise gave. The name is Chris Hulse, Hulse, and you could just correct it to Hulse for the correct spelling of his last name. Okay.
I did notice a few things myself. On page 1, under a call to order, it said Mr. Andresco called the meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. The quorum was, and it's blank. So I think we should say a quorum was present. And then on page 1, under staff, we have please removed Jim Holliday. So it should be just please remove Jim Holliday. Under page 3, under public comments, it says Thomas Schocko. It's spelled Schocko. It's Tom Sacco. That should be changed to Tom Sacco. And what else did I see? We had on page 5, under the nominating committee, it said Miss Brown as secretary. And I believe that should read treasurer. Under that, page 5, nominating committee should read. And also, when it comes down to that same page, Mr. Andresco presented the following slate of officers, and it said Ms. Brown as secretary. It should read treasurer. And on page 6, when it came to Mr. Lloyd, greeted the board members and said that they had made $43,000 in the month of June, but I believe that's $143,000. Just a slight error there. And those are the changes that I have seen. So,
Rich, Rich, one more on page 6 in the third grouping. At the end of the sentence, it says, but this is apparently is the city policy. But this is apparently the city policy. The second is I don't think it's necessary.
Okay. Based upon all these changes being made, all those in favor of these changes, if you could just vote by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes are recorded. So James Holiday, are there anybody in public participation, in public comment?
Guest. So I'm going to allow the guest to speak after they identify themselves. So here we go on that.
Okay. So have you-
That individual 203-417-5336. If you would like to speak, please unmute yourself and do so. One more
Okay,
time. Does that individual wish to speak? Apparently not. So why don't
Okay.
you move forward?
okay. Moving forward to the next item on the agenda, which is the report of the chair. So first of all, I'd like to thank you all for electing me as chairman, I think. Please bear with me as I navigate through the intricacies of our monthly meetings. This is my first one, so please bear with me. As I said earlier on, we do have a new authority member, and I'd like to formally welcome Mary Verrill to the Oak Hills Park Authority. I have happened to know Mary for quite a long time. We were both Rowayton residents. Mary still is, and I am not, for a long time. So, Mary, I'd like to, obviously introduce you. If you'd like to just say a few words and just tell us a little about yourself, and very happy to have you here.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the welcome. I'm very excited to be part of this group. A little bit about myself. Okay. Lifelong, well, I've been here for like 50 years, and just really love this town. And the longer I'm here, the more I see the benefit of Norwalk and places like Oak Hills. And I think we have so much to offer here. And the golfing is great. It's a wonderful resource, and also I'm very excited to be working with the nature part of it too, because that can be a very beneficial part of what we have to offer to the community in Norwalk, as the tennis and the golf and the nature walks and all that good stuff. And so my goal is to kind of help steward this lovely piece of property for the benefit of the community. I don't know. Is that okay?
That's
I don't
great.
know what you're looking for.
That's
I know
just
my background. You have my. Yeah, I think you have my resume. I'm bona fide. I went downtown and got sworn in yesterday,
well,
so I'm ready to go.
well, I'm pleased to say you have the job for the next 3 years.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I think it's a wonderful opportunity.
Well, we're happy to have you. Thank you, Mary. We have a slight change in our agendas, and if you noticed or not, but we've kind of moved up these. We've changed the special reports with the management reports because, people, like poor old John Lloyd and others that have to wait till the very end of the meeting, to listen to us. So we thought it just makes sense to change that. So we have our special reports before we have the management reports. So we will do that. Looking into the future, I think we really are in a good place at this moment in time. And thanks to all of you and to all the staff and to all the people that are involved in Oak Hills. We're in a pretty good position financially and operationally, and I think that's really very creditable to all of us, basically. As we look into the future, there are some opportunities and challenges that we might want to look for in the next few years. So I'll just kind of throw a few things out to you, if I may. How do we increase our revenue? I think this is one of our big challenges here. We're doing 45,000 rounds and we're at capacity, but how can we increase our revenue? So, things like golf simulators, one of Joe's pet projects. Dare I mention a small driving range, pickleball courts. I'm just throwing things out that maybe have some opportunities there. And how do we make more Oak Hills more friendly, from a usage and an employee point of view? How do we make it more inclusive is what I guess I want to say, from an employee point of view and maybe from a usage point of view. I think that would be important to us. Fundraising, tennis does a really good job, and Jerry works very hard as well. But I think there may be some opportunities for fundraising, golf foundations, opportunities here at the club. Are there any opportunities for creative capital projects? Is there money that we can spend that can save us money? We're going to be talking about water usage and possibly sinking more wells and getting our own water and not spending it all on city water. I'm not sure if we're able to do that. Can we improve our exposure? We have this fantastic golf course, municipal golf course here in Fairfield County. Should we have a golf tournament? Not quite the US Open or like that, but is there any opportunities there? That's, and I think we should work closer with the city. We started working with them and it's done really well for us, but they have a lot of resources. And I think that we can tap into some of those resources, and which we're doing already with purchasing, Parks and Rec, but there's Department of Public Works, the arborist, and all these people I think can help us. Well, that's enough for me, but just a few things that I think are important. So item 5 on the agenda is special reports. So I'd like to call on John Lloyd from O'Dean's. If you're out there, John, you get to go early. If you'd like to talk to us about what's going on in your neck of the woods. Thank you. John, you think, you probably need to turn your video on, John. I know you're there.
Maybe he stepped away for a minute.
Okay, maybe he's not. Maybe he wasn't expecting.
He was thinking he wasn't going to be on for another hour.
Yeah. Well,
And maybe he didn't look at the agenda.
Right. Well, let's just skip John for the minute and move on to the Nature Advisory Report. And obviously, Mary, I can't give, not involved at the moment in time, but I see Audrey, I think you're on the call. Audrey, would you like to bring us up to date with what's going on with the Nature Advisory Committee?
Yeah, well, I worked together with Mary on a report for today.
Fantastic.
And since this is her inaugural debut, Mary, would you like to give the report?
I didn't print it out.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm happy to give the report.
Okay.
She gave her blessing on it, right, Mary?
Yes.
So the past month, the focus really has been on the fountain garden. And we're very thankful to Lori Morrison of the Norwalk Garden Club, who's been leading her club volunteers in planting, weeding, and planting in the fountain garden beds this past month. The garden really needed some TLC, and it really looks beautiful. A mix of native plants as well as some annuals to give it color. I've added a semicircle in front of the fountain of light colored stones to give a focal point. Tiz, who is a staff member there, has been involved. He got the solar fountain up and running in the fountain. And he also put some strategically placed boulders for the resident frog, who we've named Kermit, who likes to sunbathe on the boulders and can get in and out of we don't know if it's he or she, get in and out of the pond. So we've got a resident frog, but that's a good sign. It means it's healthy. Lori has set up a sign that shares with people that the garden is maintained by the Norwalk Garden Club. It's really a terrific collaboration between the Norwalk Garden Club and Oak Hills Park. This is what we want to see. We want to see more of these collaborative efforts. She does have an issue. She's asked for a way to access a water source so that when she and the volunteers come, they can water as they need to. So maybe that's something that can be fully realized. An update on the trails. The trails need some cleanup, as they always do. We're going to organize some volunteers, a group to clean up the trails when the temperature's cooling down a little bit. We're also going to be identifying flora and fauna within the woodlands. Sarah Cruz, who Robert Stowers works with at Rec and Parks, offered at some point to help us identify key trees and various wildlife that are typical and that we want to use as educational identification tags throughout the woodlands. Be a great addition. And we want to attach them to the big wrought iron posts that we had purchased. Make use of those. And then the last project that we have coming up, hopefully in the fall, is a good time. We purchased some natural lawn seed from a landscaper who specializes in natural landscapes and natural lawns. It's a mixture of native ground cover, which is more drought resistant, and only requires mowing once or twice a summer. So we're thinking of in the fountain garden, which has sort of lost its lawn there, and it's kind of been mixed together now with all kinds of weeds, and whether they're native or not, turning that area over and actually creating kind of an example or a demonstration of what natural lawn looks like. And we thought we could invite homeowners to come take a look, and it might inspire people to see an alternative to a grass lawn of monoculture, which uses up a lot of water. It provides no food and shelter for wildlife at all, or little. So we're seeing that as a demonstration project that could give the park some cachet, some visibility. It'd be something interesting. So that's something we want to discuss and not just go ahead with, but discuss it first. We have a meeting next week with this gentleman. His name is Mike Papa. He's the natural landscaper. If anybody would like to join us, just let me and Mary know, and we'll find out when he's coming and when we're setting it up, if you want to walk around with us and just hear about what's involved and what the benefits are. So anyway, so that's kind of our report. And we want to look for some grants starting in the fall for some for maintenance, or seeing what more we can do. Just keeping that area healthy is the main point, and a boon for the park.
Yeah, I should add that I've been working with Mike Papa for a couple years now. The name of his company is called Artscape, and he does organic landscaping, and we've used him for with the Norwalk Land Trust for some invasive removals, and he's very knowledgeable. And I couldn't pin him down because his truck was out of commission. So I don't know exactly when he's coming. But this new alternative lawn seed mixture I think it's going to be the new paradigm, because it doesn't need as much water, doesn't need as much mowing, doesn't need as much heavy duty maintenance. And given all the things that are going on, I think we could be on the forefront of demonstrating this for the community. So I'm really looking forward to working with him. He's a really interesting fellow, and love to have anybody join us whenever he's coming. We will let you know.
One thing I would like to ask is, as far as your watering is concerned and needing a source of water, there is irrigation there. And now that I'm permitted to draw city water, I mean, do you want me to run that every other night or something to keep all the plants,
Yeah, or is there a hookup for a hose?
There is, but it's a specialized device that screws in, and it's kind of.
Yeah, it doesn't
I'm
really.
not going to leave anything there for anybody to use,
Right.
because.
Yeah, so yeah, we could talk about it. Yeah, yeah, there could be some some automatic watering feature timer to it. Depending on if it's raining a lot, then obviously we don't want to waste water
Right.
either. So
Of course.
according to your judgment, sure. That'd be great.
I think
Yeah.
that'd be a great idea.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for the report, Audrey, and thank you, Mary. So I see John Lloyd is with us now. John, I don't know if you were there at the beginning of the meeting, but I did announce that basically we are doing the special reports earlier to give you guys a break, and of course you weren't there at the time. Oh, I see you in your car, even better. So anyway, John, if you'd like to give us a quick update of how things are going and where are we, that'd be great. Nice to see you.
Yeah, hi everyone. I was with you earlier, screaming at the phone, but having some technical issues. So I've got a little progress report here. I guess some positive things with fixing the music system in the restaurant. So we're beginning to pipe some music through onto the deck and into the restaurant, making it a bit more of an amenable space. And on the subject of music, we are now mapping out August and beyond live music on a very regular weekly basis, which we will publicize and make broadly available, that information, in order to try and get more people into the restaurant on Saturdays. And we've ordered some more plants for the inside of the restaurant, just to generally try and make the place a more desirable place to spend time. We've instated a happy hour available between 3 and 6 every day, with a third off drinks and light bites. And we've even designed a golfer's special lunch for $10, including a beer, which is super good value. We've recently hired a social media agency to push the marketing of our business locally and spread the word amongst the various forums and Facebook groups and Instagram. We're booking a lot of private events for local community businesses, fundraisers, and schools for the next month onwards, for the restaurant space. And we are working positively with all the outings that are on the calendar for the next few Mondays coming up, and we're kind of making very workable compromises with their budgets and the food and beverage part of the deals. But I guess the last month, business has been very slow. There's a poor level of participation from the golfers coming into the restaurant, but we're mainly ascribing it to the weather and to what is historically a slow time of the year for business, for the restaurant business. And we're experiencing it in our other restaurants as well, at Ridgefield and Carmel. Certainly a slowdown. So lots of roots of hope and progress, but we're kind of just managing a slow time of the business at the moment, and we are finding it difficult to retain some front of house staff because they're just not making the money that they need to make to pay their bills.
It's interesting, John, because it should be a busy time, obviously, the month of June, July, just from a usage point of view. So I know you and I did have a quick chat about that. Does anybody have any questions further questions for John?
No questions, but I want to thank you. I've been there several times for lunch, and in the first year that I've seen tennis on the big TV. So I know it was Wimbledon and that's your home country, but I hope you continue with the tennis displays on those TVs. It's really nice for the tennis players that come by.
Good.
And thank you very much for the help with our little tennis Wimbledon. I'm sure Denise is going to mention that too, but it was very, very nice of you to help us with that, the food and beverage part, or the food.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay. Thank you, John. And you will be, from now on, appearing early on in the meeting, which, might feel better for you, I hope.
I certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Next report is the tennis report from Denise.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, so as Rich mentioned that we did have our Wimbledon tournament on July 7th. It was a Sunday event, and it was our event coordinator was Michaela Hewitt. She's a volunteer for us. She did a great job bringing everybody in. We had a full slate of 32 participants. So we had all 8 courts going. We even had more people come than we could accommodate, so we had to actually turn a few people away, unfortunately, but you know, we did fill up, and that was one of our goals, to have a full you know, participant for the tournament. And Odin's catered the event, which was the first time that we had a catered event there for the Wimbledon. He provided Wimbledon themed sandwiches. There were scones, strawberries and cream, beautiful dessert assortment, and different iced teas, and it was delicious. Everybody really enjoyed it. It was very well received. So, and everything with the food went off very splendid. So it really added a nice little extra, you know, whole for our event. It was really like a nice extra positive thing. So I think that if we continue with this event, we would definitely do the same thing next year. We raised about $1,595 for the event, and we had obviously expenses, so we netted out about $595. So some of that money may be coming back, I'm not sure, but anyway, so we have a little pocket of money, a little extra to put into our supporters account. And on the agenda for us for the following next couple of months, we have our Labor Day tournament. This will be our 4th year of it, so that one is pretty much a solid event for us to hold every year. We're going to be hosting a new tournament, which is going to be come after Labor Day. It's going to be a men's double tournament and a women's double tournament. And we are going to call it the Norwalk Open. We're going to, I have it posted on the website right now, but we're in the process of working out the registration and everything. We plan to give an award cash prizes for the champions, and then we'll have some probably gift certificates or some other kind of prize for the runners-up. So that'll be a full weekend tournament. So we're looking forward to doing that. That's the first of that tournament that we hope to be able to follow through with. Working on the fall youth program. We haven't been able to quite put that together yet. I'm looking for a pro. I lost my pro, so I'm searching for somebody else to come in and be able to work with the kids for an after-school program. If anybody knows of anybody, I'd be happy to have you get in touch with me and forward any information. But I did speak with, I've spoken with David many times from Grassroots, David Kamani, and he's kind of sourcing out maybe to see if we could get a young pro that he works with that might be able to help us out. So that would be great. And there is Kings Highway added on a Friday night social. I'm not quite sure. I haven't been able to attend it yet, but Rich, have you, I think you attended it, and do you have
Yeah,
any?
I attended 2 weeks ago, and there were 16 players. They have a cap of 16, and they did a very nice job rotation playing, and they gave out gift vouchers for drinks at Odin's, as well as some free tennis lessons to the winners. So the next, we had 2 rainouts, and then and didn't have anything over the 4th. So tomorrow I think will be the second one.
Okay, great.
They also started Denise, the singles tournament too, which is just came out this week, I think. They're going to try a ladder.
A ladder.
See how that goes.
Yeah, and everything is open to the public, so anybody can come and participate, of course. And the last thing on the agenda is that we do have the, I showed you the plaque that we had for art. They picked out a stone. I've been in touch with St. John's Cemetery to see if I can get one of their stone mason people, whatever, to come and take a look at our stone and see how he can mount it for us. So we're working on that. And when we have the dedication, we will let everybody know when we have the date picked out. I know we're heading towards Labor Day weekend for that. And I know from the city meetings that I've been at, I think we'll have a fairly good turnout from the city. So we'll have to try to plan accordingly, because there's a lot of people who would like to attend the dedication. So that's something we'll talk about with the Friends of Tennis meeting too.
Just one more thing, Denise, I would mention thanks to Jim Holiday for getting the paths and the apron around the tennis office. finished with since the last meeting. We have 2 beautiful paths now, of course, 7, 8, and 5 and 6, and also a nice apron around the whole building, which makes the whole patio certainly a beautiful place, a much more beautiful place.
Yeah, it's much more complete looking, and there's been a lot of great feedback. So it's, if anybody hasn't come over to the tennis center, come on over and take a look because it looks really good.
Mhm.
Thank you, Denise. Does anybody have any questions for Denise? Thank you, Denise. Next, supporters of Oak Hills. I see Jerry is with us. Jerry, what do you have?
Yeah, I had a mini meeting with Mark this week, and we picked, just before the next meeting to get together with all the figures so we can present them then, which would be ending the fiscal year and 6 months through the current calendar year. So that's it.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. That ends the special reports. Now moving on to item 6 on the agenda, the management reports. Starting off with golf professional Paul Alexander. Take it away, Paul.
All right, good evening, everybody. Well, it's the heart of the summer. We continue to have very busy tee sheets when we have good weather and it's not unbearably hot. But even during these hot days, if some people don't want to play, we're seeing other people take those tee times, especially a lot of young golfers. We're really seeing a lot of young golfers out there. But we've been seeing a lot of full tee sheets when the weather is really nice. Our utilization numbers have averaged a little over 90% the last 28 days. A little more than half of those days, our utilization rates are at 96%. So we're seeing a lot of golfers. Only time we don't see them is when it's just too hot or we get a little bit of rain. But other than that, it's extremely busy. Our golf staff's in full strength with 35 members. I believe last year we had 38. And I believe this is the best golf staff I've had here in my 13 years at Oak Hills Park. A few of our 2024 new hires have really been helpful this year. And some of our second season staff members have definitely been extremely beneficial as well. And Steve Shepard, tireless Steve Shepard, has really been a tremendous help to the overall golf operation at Oak Hills Park. We've sold about 1,150 golf memberships since January 1. We normally max out a little over 1,200. Year to date, we're down just a couple of percentage points, but our green fees are up 7% from 2023, and our cart revenues are up about 1%. We've had 7 outings this year that went very well. We have 11 outings remaining on the schedule. And I'm happy to announce that we recently added 3 new outings this year. They are Stamford Police Department, the Norwalk Police Board, and Hoffman Landscaping. Both our Oak Hill Men's Association and Women's Golf Associations are in their 14th week of golf tournaments. We've added a new Twilight League on Tuesdays through Golf Genius golfers. They're in their 2nd or 3rd week. And everything with Golf Now is going very well, and they continue to drive lots of golfers to our golf course. Our 68 golf carts are still looking great and in good condition, thanks to Al Rossetti. And those new warm-up bays have just been a tremendous benefit, as well as that tee line we put in for our many, many golf clinics. Other than that, we're approaching August, and I expect us to be very busy into the month of September.
Thank you, Paul. Any questions for Paul? Okay, there being none, we'll move on to our Superintendent Jim Shell, that may have more of a smile on his face this meeting than he did last meeting. Jim.
Definitely a bigger smile, or a smile at all. And really, other than what I've written and distributed to everybody, I don't have much to say other than thank you to Jim, Alan, Robert, Alan Huth, if you're listening, for all the help with getting this issue with using municipal water settled. It means a lot. I'm glad we've only lost the little bit that we have, but it will be some work in the fall with whatever doesn't come back. We will have to do something to renovate these spots, but we should be okay. I'm glad it didn't go on all summer. That's all I have to say. If there's any questions, go for it.
Is it a full exemption?
It is on a year by year. I mean, obviously, if we get into a drought situation, there's going to be
Sure.
some modifications or restrictions or whatever, but that's all to be worked out still.
Yeah, so Mark, I'll kind of update you during the report. I actually attended the meeting, so I'll kind of update the authority a bit towards the end there. Okay.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Jim?
Yeah, just a quick question, Jim. You
Sure.
know, since the ponds are full, do we ever use the ponds for watering?
Every time we water, absolutely. But we're limited in how much we can take out, and that's when we switch over per day. And that's when we
Okay.
switch over to city water.
All right, I got you.
We pull out
Yeah.
50,000 gallons a day from there, Gary. That's our max that we can take out. 50,000 gallons a day.
Is that because they need so much for run, you know, to run through the rivers or whatever, the streams, et cetera?
It's because with the size of our pond, we're not able to get a water diversion permit from the state.
Yeah,
And even if we did, and we had a heavy drought year, the pond would last 4 or 5 days max.
right, yeah.
And we'd be out.
Just, you know, while we're getting rain and everything, you know, the ponds are full. I was just wondering how much we were able to take out. That's all, just to save money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey Jim, did we get any flooding over by the pond at 5 and 6 after all that rain last night?
Well, the green was an island green this morning, but I did look. I mean, I believe when he used to get flooded that you could see like the high water mark on his garage door, and I didn't see one this morning. So,
Great.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
thank
think
you.
so.
No further questions for Jim. We'll move on to Mark.
Okay,
Wonderful.
you all have my commentary. I'll just say a few things off the top of my head. I'm nearly done with closing the books for the month of June, which also means for the year of fiscal year 2024. So I'm in good shape for the auditors coming in. They're in next Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't expect any surprises, any adjustments. It should be pretty clean and clear cut. And if you read my commentary, you know, the year was very good, especially on the revenue side. I will say we really do need to keep watching our expenses. They were over budget by quite a bit, but still overall very good year. The month of June itself, we were more than 1,000 revenue rounds over budget, which is quite substantial, and that just it was a great ending to a very good year. And I, as Paul mentioned, you know, utilization is up. I don't see people are golfing in 96-degree weather, which is crazy to me. But I see us going strong. So you know, knock on wood, things are looking good, and it's great because then we can continue to put in the improvements back into the park as well, which we've been doing. And Jim Holiday's had a lot of good success helping out with that as well.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions for Mark?
So Mark, I read that you had improvements that were funded by the supporters, so you had donations had come in specifically for the park?
No, it's the stuff you know about. It's the pergola and the walkways.
Oh.
No, the way it works is that when you have something like that done by a company, so if you have a 501c3, as we do the Supporters of Oak Hills Park, that fund construction or capital improvements on Oak Hills Park, which is what they basically do, we need to add it into our fixed assets. So we capitalize it, and it basically comes through on the income statement. It comes through as something called contributed capital, which is basically a non-operating income line at the bottom of the P&L, which you'll see when I distribute the financials. So it comes in basically as it affects it positively affects our net income, because we had we had to add a fixed asset for free, you know, because it was paid for someone else. And the auditors, I've discussed this with the auditors, that's the proper accounting for it. And I'm sure Gary can always would always knock on my door if it wasn't, but it's already been discussed. We did it last year as well, but only a small thing. So
That was
it's basically
small.
it's the water fountain, and it's the pergola, and it's the walkways.
Right. Did you get a bill yet from Costello for the pathway? Did they pay, so you paid the Costello?
The one that you took to the post office? Who's that for?
No,
Oh, that-
Jim, was the bill submitted from Costello?
I don't remember.
No, the final bill was not submitted yet.
Okay, so that's still, they just haven't submitted it for whatever reason. The,
And
the
what
the
did they do?
payment due. Because there's a, you know, a partial payment was put down when we did the walkways, and so the balance due hasn't been submitted yet.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
that'll change, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
No further questions for Mark. Thank you, management team. We will now go on to item 7 on the agenda, old business, new business. Being as we now have Mary Verrill on the committee, I'd like to put you to work, Mary, and I'd like to, if I may, appoint you as a chairperson of the Nature Advisory Committee, if that's okay with you. Hopefully you're okay with that, Mary? I think you're on mute at the moment, Mary. Oh.
As Mary's thinking about that, Alan, just remember, I think we have to go back and get Jim Holloway's report.
Jim
Oh,
Hall-
my
Do
apologies.
we have to do that, Rich?
Thank you. There you go. Yes. James.
Give Mary a little more time to get her.
Yes. James, if you'd like to give your report, I'm so sorry to have missed you. Rookie mistake.
That's quite all right. Quite all right. Rich, you owe me one. I hope that you have had a chance to glance at my report. As it generally is, it's filled with lots of little things. Unusual items this month are some challenges we've had with people abusing various different parts of our property. But we are addressing them with appropriate actions. And Mark and I like to chuckle that since I arrived, well, he doesn't chuckle so much because he just wants to talk about the money I'm spending, but part of the general manager's responsibilities is to have eyes on to various areas that perhaps might be more attractive, or there may have been deferred maintenance. So I'm the guy that spends all your money, and I can assure you it's not something I delight in doing, but I think that the buildings are the better for it. One of the things that I wanted to remind you is that the furnace in the maintenance building is on its very last legs, and we had proposals submitted in January. We approved a vendor, Innovative Heating and Cooling. And when we agreed on this, it was February, and it's cold in February, and we weren't thinking about the warmer months of the year. So we asked Innovative to give us a proposal to add a condensing unit to provide air conditioning for Jim and his men who probably deserve it more than many other people. But we did get the proposal, and we have reviewed it and approved it. And so it did drive the cost up by $7,200, but we agreed that it is a worthwhile and necessary expense. Those men are out there all day long, and to come back into a cooler building for their breaks is something that they absolutely deserve. So that expense is capping out at $18,000, up from around 11. Another item that I needed to bring to Mark's attention.
Sorry, Jim, to interrupt. If I could just ask the question, did that capital expenditure go into this fiscal year's, or is it going into next fiscal year's capital?
It's going into the current fiscal year that started July 1, 2024. We had hoped to expense it in last year, but the contractor couldn't do the work. And we also needed Eversource to continue to finish installing the gas pipeline.
Jim, can I just touch on that for a quick second?
Please do.
Thank you. From an accounting perspective, yeah, so Alan, this $18,000 is not in our current fiscal year's capital budget. However, just to keep everything in mind, the last 2 years we came in under budget on CapEx, and we beat budget on our net operating income. So we've done very well, and our cash position has gotten much higher. So for something like this, and we also do have a general line in our budget. So this will fit in there. It wasn't planned for. Things do happen. I am very happy. I spoke with Jim, and this is something that we simply just it's a need to, not a want to. So if anything else pops up, we can look at it a bit more carefully. We're not going to just start spending willy-nilly, but we probably will go a little bit over budget, especially with our plan to do the bunkers, which is a known number.
Yeah, just so I know, it's in this current fiscal year, which is a high capital expense year. And we do need to be careful, very careful on our capital expenditures in this fiscal year. So, okay.
Just
I
so
just
everybody
wanna-
knows, I will be putting a damper in on the line that goes into the bathroom during the summer, so that people can't go in there and hang out in there to catch a break for, half the day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
I think
Anything
Gary
else
had
to your report?
I just want to,
Nothing,
yeah, Jim, before you say that, I just want to be clear, there is $25,000 in unplanned capital. And that's where this 7,000 will be applied against, right?
No, it's the full 18.
So 18 against the 25?
Yep.
Okay, so we have 7 left, but so long as we don't have anything else pop up,
Well,
that keeps us within our capital budget.
It does, but it's not optimal to have this happen in month 1, obviously. That's all.
No, but at least we have a place for it at the moment. The
Yeah.
next one, we may not.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Gary.
Could I just clarify, Jim, for me, the air conditioning, either Jim, is it in the offices for the guys? Is that where this air conditioning, where's the air conditioning being added?
all of the main area that is heated will also be cooled.
So the whole big area is going to be cool.
Yep.
Okay, it's not just the offices, it's the whole area
Yep.
inside.
And not the wing, if you will, where
Right.
the equipment is
Okay.
stored, but where Glenn works all day, every day, and where the break room is, and where the guys congregate when they come in to have a break, so.
Got it, okay. So it's a place where they could work, even repair equipment in the summer without being in the heat.
That is correct, and Glenn, the mechanic, is in there repairing equipment all day, every day. So.
And there was a new furnace put in there, is that been?
No, the furnace there, it's actually being installed next week. But this was something that we learned about in January. And it was just a matter of getting it scheduled, and the air conditioning is the new part.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Jim, James, anything else on your report?
Mark, you think I'm gonna go into the good news on what we discussed this afternoon, or leave that until August?
I would leave that until next month because we haven't signed anything yet.
We
Okay.
have good news. We have really good news for you next month, folks. So
Always, yeah.
stay tuned. It's extremely exciting, and I'm not at all kidding. It's a really big deal, and we'll have a full report in August. And that's all I've got, Alan.
Any questions for the person I forgot, Jim Holiday?
Yeah, I have one more, and I don't know if it's our issue or it's an operating issue, is the cancellation and no-show policy. Is that something the board deals with, or is that something that you guys deal with?
I believe that it's an operations issue.
Okay.
And it is actually more a matter of clarifying policies or defining them in a better way. There are policies, but we're noticing some gaps. And so Paul and I and other key members need to better define these policies and distribute them so that we remove any misunderstandings or any potential or violations of the policies.
Okay, great.
Any other questions? Thank you, James. Now we can move to item 7 on the agenda, old business, new business. And the first item is I would like to appoint a chairperson for the Nature Advisory Committee. And Mary, I think you are with us now. So I would like to appoint you to be the chairperson of the Nature Advisory Committee. Hopefully you're okay with that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and I apologize. I hit the wrong button before. I'm fairly new at these Zoom meetings, so I'm still learning. But yes, I'd be delighted to do it. I would like to sit down with somebody and kind of scope out what that means and and that type of thing. But
I'll be in touch, and you and I'll meet and we'll walk you around, introduce you to the players and the people, and we can just discuss some strategy and things like that, if that's okay with you.
Perfect. That'd be great. Yes, very good.
Thank you. Item B is a water restrictions update. Jim has given us, the good news. I just wanted to let the authority know, and I'd like to thank a couple of people. I'd like to thank Jim Shell for all his hard work, Jim Holiday, and also I'd like to thank Rocco Candido. I'm not sure that's his right last name, but he's a ranger that works for us, and he worked for the SNEW Water Authority for a long time, and I believe is held in good regard in that area. And he suggested that I attend the meeting on the 16th, and I did. And it was the monthly meeting of the South Norwalk Electrical Water meeting. And Alan Huth, who's executive director, made a recommendation that Silvermine Golf Course and Oak Hills Golf Course could have a variance from the existing regulations because of their size and usage and special circumstances. And there was back and forth discussions amongst the commissioners, and I think it was very good that I was there because I was able to answer some questions and, their concern about, would we be using all the water, just willy-nilly. I did tell them some of the plans that we're looking to do. And, one of the things we are looking at, and Jim hadn't really mentioned it, is that we did drill 2 holes about 7 years ago and looking to see if there's any water down there. There is some water, and it's a question of how much water there is, what's it going to take to get it up there. But if we could supplement the 50,000 gallons that we get a day from these sources, it may help us. It may reduce what we have to buy from SNEW. So we are working on that project, and I think Jim will be able to update us, maybe not this meeting, perhaps at the next meeting. But I'm really pleased that we were able to affect this. It is we have to apply for this variance every year, and of course it's only during the time when you can irrigate, when you can water. During drought conditions, we will obviously comply with the rest of the conditions. But I think the reservoir is currently at like 89%. I think after last night, probably almost at 100%. But the process did work well, and thank you to Alan Huth, who's the executive director, who did recommend this to the board. So are there any questions on our water restrictions issue?
I have a question, Alan.
Yeah.
So had you also been in touch with Silvermine and had a conversation with them, knowing that they had the same situation and with the Silvermine golf course?
Jim Shell, could you answer that?
Yeah, I was talking to the superintendent up there quite a bit, and I don't know the exact reason, but they didn't get the consideration from SNU that we did. I don't know how to explain that to you.
Jimmy, are you sure that's the case?
I'm pretty sure they did say while we were watching the meeting on Tuesday night that it was, there's only 2 golf courses that require water now, and they were going to make the approvals based on a case-by-case basis. That I didn't hear any language saying that Silvermine was included in the exemption.
Okay. well, we can look at it. I thought it's Silvermine and Oak Hills were the two ones that were approved because both those two are in there.
I hope so, because I mean, it's a tough situation to not be able to do that.
I do believe it was both, but we can look at and see what what the actual minutes said. But we do have the variance, so we'll look and see, Denise.
I mean, it seems odd that they wouldn't include them. I mean, why would they exclude them?
We'll look at the language. To the best of my knowledge, I believe
Yeah.
that's what it's saying. But we can look at it's on YouTube anyway, so we can look at it and see.
Okay.
Okay.
Just for clarification, I asked for the minutes today, or I wanted to see the language in the variance that was provided to us. Unfortunately, it's not going to be released until their meeting on August 23rd. Similar to our meetings, the minutes aren't formalized or approved until the next month's meeting. So,
yeah. Okay. Is there any other new business that anybody would like to talk about at this time?
I just want to ask Mary, sorry, excuse me, Mary, when you ever get that meeting with Mike Papa, if you could let the board members know, I would like to come to the meeting particularly, and for the Nature Advisory Committee.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the idea of
I
the
will let you
landscaping.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to say, one, thank you, Alan, very much for going and taking care of that water issue. I think that's huge. And so you got two big notches in your belt this month, one for getting water to Oak Hills, and two for running a really good first meeting. Thank you very much. I think you did a great job in changing the agenda. I think it was some good adjustments there.
Not my idea, but just management team. And I think, guys, we've got it under an hour or about an hour. So I guess that's a good start. Don't cancel it every time though. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Can someone second it?
I
Yes,
said-
Denise did.
I did.
Okay, sorry, Denise Brown seconded it. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Motion is so carried. Thank you all very much. We'll see you in a month's time, if not before.
Alan.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Alan.
Good night.
Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Good night.
Right.
Nice weekend.